All aboard the burnout bus stop is boarding. And this bus ride, it's going to be full of artists and musicians whose brains just needed a break from the onslaught of everything we must do as independent artists. And so you're here, about to board the bus, watching this, most likely because you were doing your best, you were putting in the time, pouring your heart into your art, but it just started to feel like nothing was working. And that lack of return, it chips away at your confidence until suddenly you're unsure how, or even if, you should keep going. But here's the good news about where you are right now. If you've ever felt stuck in the algorithm, disconnected from your audience, or unsure how to promote your music without burning out, this video is for you. We're going to bring you back to center, reignite that belief in yourself, and help you ease into a content strategy that actually feels good to maintain. However, if you're here because you're like super serious about rediscovering your passion for music and finally figuring out how to grow on social media and scale your Spotify following, cracking your artist code, then click the link in the description titled Artist Consultation. That way we can chat directly so I can help you build a clear and personalized strategy to get back into motion and without burnout. Now, let's get into it. Let's start with discussing why this burnout beast causes us to take breaks and go on hiatuses when we're posting endlessly, when we're pursuing music endlessly, and we start to feel defeated. I first want to say, taking a break or needing to pause from overwhelm is not failure. It's actually a signal. It's your body speaking to you because your brain, your body, your spirit was just too freaking overwhelmed. When our hard work leads to low return, our brain starts telling us these self-limiting beliefs and stories like, I'm not good at this, or this isn't working, or no one cares, or my music stinks. The inner voices, they start shouting, and we want to escape it. That self-talk leads to inaction. Inaction turns into stagnation, and that stagnation becomes such a source of shame for us. And then we feel like we're completely failing ourselves, failing our futures, failing our music. So what do we do instead to avoid it? We retreat into the studio, into songwriting. We pour our energy into music, which is great, but the thing we're doing is we're trying to create something that feels tangible so it feels like we're actually accomplishing something. But if the core issue isn't resolved in this, then the cycle just repeats. And you post the music and it feels like you're back in the same cycle. But we want to do something about it. So let's talk about how we can break this cycle, get back into ourselves, and actually make progress. First, before anything else, you must recalibrate. You are completely out of whack right now. When you're overwhelmed, your brain switches into survival mode. You start making decisions from your emotionally reactive brain, the survival-based, protection-driven part of your nervous system. What we want to do is activate your creative brain again, the calm, strategic, thoughtful part of you and your brain that knows how to take aligned action and create new things. And here's how we're gonna do that right now to recalibrate you and get you back to center. First, meditate. Now, you don't need to sit cross-legged on a mountain, but you absolutely can if that's an option. However, you do need to breathe. You need to slow it down. You need to get back into your body. You need to let your nervous system know that you are safe now. When your body feels safe, your brain can access its most creative and most expansive state. But when you don't feel safe, when you're stuck in fear, in anxiety, in stress, you enter a survival mode. And survival mode is not a fertile ground for creativity. In survival mode, your brain is focused simply on protecting you, not dreaming, not exploring, not making art. So if you've been struggling to feel creative, it might not be a discipline issue, it might just be a safety issue. The more you can regulate your nervous system and bring yourself back to a sense of safety, the more creative flow becomes possible. So meditate. Next, journal it out. You want to get to the bottom of what's really going on for you at this particular moment so that you can work through it and nip it in the bud if and when it comes up in the future. So have a conversation with yourself. Journal and ask yourself deep questions about what emotions you're experiencing right now and why they're creating inhibitions and creating hesitations in your behavior and creating bad negative patterns. Let it out. Be radically honest and do not judge yourself. Simply get to the bottom of the emotional depths of what's going on internally. I have seen and I have worked with so many artists who have come back from a personal episode with so much excitement, with so much inspiration, only to fall off again because they didn't get to the bottom of the issue. And so the cycle repeats. And while you're meditating and while you're journaling, you also want to detox from dopamine. We live in a world of instant gratification. So chances are you're probably addicted to dopamine in some way, or you might just have a dysfunctional relationship with dopamine. Social media can train us to believe that if something doesn't get likes in the first hour or the first day, it was a failure, it was a flop. But algorithmically, that's not always true. TikTok videos, for instance, can pick up steam weeks after posting, and just the strategy at large of being consistent helps us grow. Relying on dopamine, like scratching the itch to grab your phone every 10 seconds, keeps our bodies in a cycle of requiring that immediate rush. So we only value that immediate rush. So the more you tie your value to that immediate feedback on social media in your strategy, the more your body becomes addicted to those dopamine spikes. So when you don't receive that immediate reaction, the more likely you are gonna get PO'd every single time you post because it's not popping off, it's not giving you that dopamine hit, which creates energetic deflation, it creates doubt, it creates distraction because you're trying to fill that dopamine void with other things. This all causes you to feel terrible. It causes you to lose time, it causes you to lose energy. And so you're more likely to quit before things start getting traction because the process of doing it feels bad. Being an independent artist is all about the long game. Remember, this is a race. It is not a sprint. If you can remain consistent in your actions, but detached from expecting or relying on any dopamine hit or rush, then you're going to keep your head in the game for much longer. Okay, so once we've gotten back into ourselves, stabilized our emotions, and created healthier, holistic habits, then it's time to rebuild belief. When we lose that belief in ourselves and in what we're doing, which is probably what's happening to you right now, most likely if you're watching this, then everything else feels unstable. Belief is the emotional fuel that powers us through the ebbs and flows of independent artistry, the uncertainty, the rejection, the failure. When you believe in what you are building, you show up with consistency. You take more risks. You stay grounded even when the numbers are quiet. You trust the process instead of questioning every single step you take. Belief creates confidence, and you're probably feeling incredibly ill-confident right now. Belief really isn't just a mindset, it's an internal, metaphysical, structural foundation. And when that belief wavers, the whole structure starts to feel shaky. So we have to reinstate this belief and give your efforts meaning again, outside of views, outside of dopamine. Inside my artist coaching program, we do this by developing your artist mission. This mission is your anchor. It is the philosophical infrastructure for every single thing you do as an artist. It helps you understand your purpose in your artistry, in your content, in your music. It helps you reconnect with your why, and it helps ground every action you do, including your content, with direction, with meaning, and with intention. This way, you refocus the ultimate aim and goal of why you're posting content to promote your music in the first place. You are not creating to chase numbers. That is not why you chose this path. You are creating to build a legacy, to connect your music to people. And when you tap into that meaning, you create from a place of confidence. You don't spiral every time your post doesn't get as many views as you want, because you're not building vanity, you're building value, and you recognize that your ultimate goal is long-term. It's not meant to be immediate. If you want more personalized help crafting your own meaningful artist mission and building a sustainable strategy rooted in your purpose, click the link in the description titled Artist Consultation to schedule a call with me so that we can chat about just that. Okay, now that you're emotionally recentered and creatively re-inspired, let's talk strategy. In order to get back into a healthy swing of posting, we first need to identify the problem we're experiencing with our strategy that we're trying to solve at this moment in time. By identifying that core problem, we can identify how to show up for that problem so that we can actually solve it. And right now, the problem that we're trying to solve together is getting you back into the swing of posting. That's the first thing we're gonna do. We don't want to be all in 1 second and all out the next. So we want to approach creating content with a sense of sustainability. In other words, we want to be actionable but reasonable in our approach to growth right now. You don't want to ask too much of yourself. That means if we're just getting back into the swing of posting, our main objective or the main problem we're trying to solve is to develop a healthy posting routine, easing into it right now. We want to start small, and I have a super simple custom strategy to help with this. It's something I've specifically created for my clients inside my artist coaching program, and it is what I call the reduce, reuse, recycle method. When you want to ease back into posting and simplify the process of content creation, especially after you've taken a break, follow these steps. Step 1, you reduce. Reduce the amount of friction and reduce the amount of energy by keeping things simple so that you can get back into a flow and begin stimulating the algorithm in a reasonable way for you. Step 2, you will reuse any and or all pieces of content that you've posted in the past that have done well for you. Don't think about it too much, just do it, just post it. If they've done well before, they'll likely do well again. This will stimulate the algorithm and also get you back into a flow. Step 3, you will recycle your content. Now, recycling is different than reusing because it's about reinterpreting ideas instead of simply reusing them. You want to recycle pieces of content that have worked in the past by recreating them, whether nearly identically or just recreating the general idea of those posts and adapting it into new ideas. You also want to recycle former posts that did not work well, and you want to rework them so that they have a higher chance of performing well. You want to maybe edit them slightly differently or use a different hook or reuse some of the footage in a completely new way so that you can take what you've already posted and stretch it across more time and space. And while you're doing this, while you're reducing, reusing, and recycling, you're going to also be working on new ideas for content, but your required output for those new pieces of content will not be as high because you have all of the content that you're reusing and recycling as part of your strategy as well. Instead of sitting down and spending endless energy in figuring it out mode, you conserve your energy because you already have a roadmap for your content. Saving energy will help build that consistency, will help you stay grounded in the long-term journey, and it will help you not burn out and not lose belief. If this sounds like something you would love support in building, a content system that doesn't just function, but actually feels like you, sustainable, then we can make that happen. Click the link in the description and book your artist consultation with me. I'll help you take everything that we've talked about today and turn it into a system that fits your artistry, your energy, and your goals. And if this video helps you breathe a little deeper, feel a little lighter and more hopeful in creating your content strategy and creating your future, I'd love if you gave it a like, if you hit subscribe and dropped a comment sharing what part resonated with you most. And please remember to turn on your bell notifications so that you are notified every single time I upload to this channel, which is every single week. Remember, if you're starting again, you are not behind. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. And now, after some time to reset, you're ready to build the future of your dreams. So let's start a build-in, shall we? Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.